Like, is this why girls love getting together with other girls, like having girls time? I feel like women gathering together is another oxytocin booster.
It is. It absolutely is. And you think about the characteristics of the blue zones or the areas where we have the longest living populations, things that are characteristic of high oxytocin are characteristic within those communities, like having a faith based practice, having longstanding marriages, having great family relationships or multi generational households, getting out in nature, good community. All of those things help increase oxytocin. And, like, okay, well, what is it? Is it the getting out in nature? It's a combination of the things that I think, when we win, when oxytocin's winning, that improves our physiology top down.
So if we can elevate oxytocin, we should naturally get our cortisol to decline then. So we can use it as a lever.
We can use it as a lever 100%. Like I've worked on this area now since my own like my PTSD, which began in 2006. And so I've worked on this and this concept and with patients, whether, again, it's always lifestyle, nutrition, what we're doing with hormones, and then how do we increase oxytocin naturally? And then if we need it exogenously, when are we adding it and how for how long? But these things all, I mean, it works as a lever. And if we think so much of our even post-pandemic stress or during the pandemic stress, the isolation, that will level your cortisol. And then plus being inside and, flattening out or disrupting your circadian rhythm, like we're doing with blue light and EMF exposures. And so all of those things interrupt our circadian rhythm. And we talk a lot about stress management. I don't know about you, Tina, but when I hear stress management, I get stressed. Like my physiology stresses out just thinking of stress management. But if we think about play, and I like to say microdose oxytocin throughout your day with oxyplay. So just ways to, bump up your oxytocin. Like we talk about 5-minute exercise snacks. What about 5-minute play snacks? And that really does move the needle. And we're going to work on supplements, nutrition, all that circadian reset, sunrises, sunsets, but things we can do to increase oxytocin move the needle the fastest. And people feel it and their physiology shows inflammatory markers go down. It's powerful.
You can load up a miserable person with all the supplements and hormones and peptides in the world and nothing will shift.
So
And,
true.
and if you can get some, and sometimes we do have to use exogenous oxytocin to get the ball rolling, but it's like a misery cluster. I get in it too. I get in my dark doldrums. And I was at a wedding the other day and I wasn't, pain is exhausting. It just like
Yeah.
sucks the joy right out of you. And I'm at my stepson's wedding the other day, and I was totally in that place that you described. Like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm in here. I get social anxiety anyway. So here I am with like all these strangers, and they're the most wonderful people too. I could not ask for a better group of people to be around. And yet here I am feeling like, and finally, I don't know, a song broke out. I started dancing and I just like let go and I was just dancing and my husband grabbed me. I'm going to cry. He was like, "This is called fun." Do you remember this? And I was like, "Yes." And he
And it
spun me
builds on
around.
itself.
It
Yeah.
does. It like feeds forward.
Absolutely. That's oxytocin firsthand. That's the magic, right? It's so good. And when you experience that, there was a study done by Paul Zak looking at oxytocin in different populations, and he studied a wedding party. And his results, his analysis showed that the number one way to increase oxytocin, or the number one person with the highest level of oxytocin, was the bride. I mean, that makes sense.
Aw.
The number two person was the mother of the bride.
Yeah, I could see that. That was a happy lady that day. Absolutely. And it kind of breaks the dam and then I try to seek out fun. It's hard. That's one of the reasons I'm moving. We've had this conversation, but I have got to get out of this state because this state as a whole is like been sucked dry of joy and fun. It's not a joyous place. And when when I travel to other places that have a much higher level of sun exposure, people are happier and there's just more joy in the community. And there's the people giving you coffee don't treat you like they hate you. They are happy to give you coffee. They're happy to wait on you and serve you and be good customer service. And it's very different. And you can travel around a place. I think sunlight has got to be a huge player in this too. like
Well,
just
I
exposure.
Yeah, and if you think of it, I mean, exactly right. When I have studied cultures around the world, part of my research and looking at hormones and hormonal health, women as we age around the world and different societies, including some of the most war-ridden societies of the world, and think, okay, well, how are they tapping into their joy? Well, first of all, when you look at northern populations versus southern populations, how does a northern Englander greet you? They're like,
Very, very
hey,
stern.
yeah, hi, very stern. But how does a beautiful, Peruvian greet you? Hugs, kisses on both cheeks. It's a hug and a kiss. Well, what creates oxytocin? That hug and the kiss. So
Yeah.
societies that have incorporated that already know, like, okay, this is a way to build trust, to create relationship, and that's like already a high oxytocin moment. But then physiologically, vitamin D is needed for the oxytocin receptors to work.
Ah, yes, there it is.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and I think probably infrared. I'm sure that we'll find out later that the different components of sunlight, just the rays, are going to be a big player too. It's a bonding hormone, and so I can see how in cultures where it's high, those societies probably feel much more bonded overall and much more like a collective than, we when we I think COVID was that was the first thing I thought of actually when they locked us down. I was in Oregon, which was like crazy town for years. I'm still to this day, people are afraid to get near you. And I'm a hugger. So I remember, I think it was like 2021, and I was flying and I was at the airport in Portland and I'm standing next to a guy and I wasn't standing on my circle. And I got too close to him. I was like on my phone, just happy to be going on a trip. I think I was going to Mexico with my husband. So I was like in a good mood. And I got too close to his circle and he freaked out. And I just thought, dude, I just was thinking like, you should just let me hug you right now. You'd feel better.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Plus, get a little of my microbiome on him, like share some good, healthy microbiome. He'd feel better. But it really is a killer. I think that's interesting to play into the most recent research. I'm sure you saw they came out with like, of all the longevity movers, strong community was the biggest, component of longevity, period, like the most powerful at the end of the day. So I think it's got to be oxytocin.
It's got to be oxytocin. Austin and David Perlmutter, their most recent book was on that concept of community and how important that is. And that is honestly the building of oxytocin. And then when I looked at these, some of these war torn areas, what are things that they had in common? They have multi generational households. They celebrated everything. Birthdays, they celebrated weddings for a week. They celebrate name days, anniversaries. Everyone remembers everyone. Community, like there's big dinners, family dinners together that are just mandatory, but no one would ever think of not showing up, right? So they build this in the stress. So oxytocin can trump out that stress cortisol. And their dancing and music is part of their lifestyle. And in their language, a lot of gratitude in their language.